What's going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Trading My Funded Account. Today is day number 37. It's December the 1st, 2023. We made some trades today, so let's get into it. First and foremost, let's talk about the important levels that we have on the chart today. So we have yesterday's closing price represented at this purple line right here at 35,993. I only made one trade today, so let's go ahead and get right into it. And once we talk about this trade, then I want to go through some examples to kind of compare how this setup measures up to other setups that kind of occurred like this in the past that were very, very similar. So let's talk about trade number one. So at trade number one, I went long here based on the retest of the higher low support level at A. So if you notice, we were in an uptrend that kind of got started down here at 9:10 this morning. So we made this initial low. We made this initial low right here, pushed up to make a higher low right here, came back, retested it, found support at that level, and from that point forward, we pushed up, retested yesterday's closing price, came back, created another higher low. Then that's when the market opened, we shot up, one more higher low, so that's higher low 1, 2, 3, and then when we made higher low 4 up here at A, I just waited for prices to come back, retest that level of support from that higher low, and then I went long and took prices back up to my scalp target, which was right here at this at the top of this wick right here for this one candle, because I just assumed that since the majority of the selling occurred from this candle, more than likely if they're moving back up, that's probably where they're trying to go back and test. So they tested that level and they came back to test the top. So very interesting day. But what's really interesting is the fact that this setup is very familiar, and I want to walk through a couple of examples so we can figure out what exactly are the similarities between these setups. So this is what I did today on December 1st. This was from November 28th, a couple of days ago. Let's focus right here on higher low B. Now notice how right here, this is very similar to what we saw today, where we had a very large move to the upside, followed by a substantially strong pullback. This pullback today went from 36,060 down to 36,030 in the span of 2 minutes. So that's pretty significant. And then we look at this one from the 28th. This went from 500 back down to about 60. So this was a 40-point pullback. Now, I remember on this day, I was a little bit hesitant to go long right here at 2 because I just wasn't quite sure if this higher low from B would hold up after all of this momentum from the downside came back to this level. But notice how if you look at what happened overall when it comes to this entire scenario in the market, we came back to retest that higher low, retest that support level, and from that point forward, the uptrend continued. So if you look at what we did today, we had a strong uptrend, a strong pullback, came back to retest that higher low, and then the trend continued up. Now you can't see it because I took the screenshot a little early, but if we go back and look at what happened throughout the rest of the session so far, the uptrend continued just like it did on November 28th. So almost the exact carbon copy setup where we have a large move to the upside, strong pullback that pretty much establishes a flag right there. And then from that point forward, that support level holds up and the uptrend continues. Almost the exact same scenario on the 28th. Large move to the upside. We have support that gets established by the flag right here at higher low number B, well, letter B. And then from that point forward, the uptrend continues. So that was on the 28th. That was one example of a large move to the upside with a large pullback where the higher low still works. So let's talk about another example from November 22nd. Now let's start over here at 9:30 where the market opened. Notice how we had a very large move to the upside off of the open, pulled back, established a higher low, but this one never came back to get retested, so we don't trade that one. We come back up, make a new high, pull back, and have a substantial pullback. So this swing high came at, let's call this 35,300. They pulled all the way back to 35,000 around 270. So about a 30-point pullback. So pretty substantial and pretty similar to what we saw today and on the 28th of November. So once we pull back, we established this higher low right here, came back to retest it on this next candle, and then the uptrend continued. The only difference between this day and the ones from the previous two examples is that we didn't really have too much follow through after prices made this higher low and continued up. The uptrend ended right here, and then eventually throughout the rest of the session came back to test that level. So it's different variations that you could see for this strategy. Sometimes the market will continue, but sometimes it won't. So you always got to play the market for what it is Don't ever get caught up in one mindset and just think that it has to continue up all day, or that if it did turn around and reverse, that it will be done going up for the rest of the day. You never really know what will happen, so you just have certain probabilities in your head, like, okay, it could go this way, it could go that way, it could go this way too. So you want to plan for everything that could potentially happen, and I think that's what we can really learn from these examples. So let's go through another one. This one is from November the 24th. So let's start down here at around 9:45 at this low right before the closing price from the previous session at 35,350. So we made this low, pushed up, created a higher low right here, came back to retest it, and from that point forward, the uptrend continued. So notice how once we had this large move to the upside, we pulled back with a fairly substantial pullback in comparison to what the overall up move was. And then we established this higher low, pushed away from it, came back to retest it, and then the uptrend continued after that higher low retest. So let's look at this last example right here from November 22nd. So the higher low at A occurred during a strong uptrend, and that's usually what you want to see when you're trying to go long, when you see a substantial pullback, because it's not always guaranteed that a substantial pullback doesn't just keep going, break straight past the higher low level, and completely reverse. There have been times like that where I've seen that happen. So you always got to remember that nothing is guaranteed in the market. So remember that the higher low has a higher chance of being successful when there are no bearish signs in the immediate vicinity. So in this scenario, we didn't have any bearish signs, even though we did have a strong pullback for, wait, hold on. Is this the same day? It is the same day. Okay. So I was like, wow, that looks so familiar. But yeah, whenever you have a substantial pullback, you always got to remember that, yeah, it is momentum coming into the market, so you don't necessarily want to go against that. But if the uptrend is strong enough and you don't see any bearish signs within the immediate vicinity, you can take that trade at A, but just be very cautious and make sure that you manage your trade very well. So that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I didn't want to do too much. I could have kept trading. You know, that was a big decision that I had to make, because I looked at the market and I saw that we came back and made this higher low. So I said, more than likely the uptrend should continue. But because I already came in and I did what I was supposed to do, I had a goal. I just wanted to come in and really see my setup work the right way and trade it the right way. Because I feel like throughout this entire week, I've had ups and downs. I've had times where I've traded my setup the right way, but then I've had times where I just completely messed it up. So I wanted to come in and just be able to see myself analyze the market, be able to see myself make the right trade, manage it the right way, and exit the right way. And once I accomplished that goal, I closed it down because I was done for the day and I did what I needed to. So I would say this week I definitely learned a whole lot. You know, it's been ups and downs like I said before, but all of these lessons that I learned this week, I think they'll definitely help me become a better trader. So I want to go into this weekend and really focus on patience and discipline, because these next 2 weeks are going to be very important. We have non-farm payrolls coming up on Friday next week. And then the week after that, we have PPI, CPI, and a Fed announcement on that Wednesday. So it's going to be a big news cycle over these next 2 weeks. So I need to make sure that I'm prepared and get ready this weekend. But other than that, I'll see you guys on Monday. It's been a good week. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I hope you learned a lot. But I'll see you soon. But until then, have a good one. Study hard, take it easy, and enjoy the weekend.